Hey everyone, Pugs here with two new reviews for y'all. Today I'm covering Wormy and Patty Hype, which are two episodes that I really love, so that means that this review is going to be all positivity, and y'all know I love to spread that, so that makes me really happy. As always, I just want to extend a quick thank you to everyone who's been watching, liking, commenting, the whole shebang. I just really appreciate the continued attention that my videos get, and I'm glad it's not too much attention, but yeah. And yeah, with all that said, let's just get right into it. Starting things off today, we've got Wormy. When I was a kid, I used to be scared of this episode. And, I'm pretty sure this is a common story for anyone who watched this episode when they were little. Because, listen, okay, those close-ups combined with, the horrible buzzing sounds, I just couldn't do it. Little old me was scared. I don't know what to say. But to be more on topic, Wormy is a very fun episode that I enjoy quite a lot, despite my past fears of it. It's kind of funny to think about, but, because I used to be so afraid of this episode, I think I actually feel more nostalgic towards it now because of that. Because, the episode was on my mind more as a kid since I would think about how scared I was of it. So I feel like this episode's more nostalgic because of that. And that's just interesting to think about to me. So Wormy is a great mix of funny, absurd, chaotic, and wholesome. The episode starts off kind of slow, but that lasts 30 seconds max. So it's really not a problem. It's clearly just set up. This isn't an issue. That's all I'm saying on that. And once Wormy enters the picture, I love SpongeBob and Patrick's instant attachment to him. It's endearing and adorable, and I think it's funny that the literal caterpillar is called Wormy. That's not a worm. But yeah, I guess caterpillar-y doesn't really have the same ring to it. Anyway, so when SpongeBob and Patrick are playing with Wormy, the montage, it's just so cute. And it has some great music going on with it too. What's with season 2 so far and having these great one-off songs that are legitimately really good. I'll be linking that song in the description, of course. But it's just so cute. I don't know. And moving on. Once we see Wormy become a butterfly in a very unrealistic speed, the episode gets hilariously dark. So, the dramatics are just, delicious here. And I love how SpongeBob and Patrick assume that the butterfly ate Wormy. It's a great use of dramatic irony since, we watched Wormy become the butterfly. And even better that, the premise of this episode is based on something that we find to be relatively mundane. Well, okay, I think it's super cool that a glorified worm can grow wings, but you guys know what I mean. So, a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. We start learning about that when we're, little children. And I love episodes like these that emphasize that these characters very much live in a different world than we do, or at least the undersea world is different. And, I just find the scene of SpongeBob and Patrick in the tree dome with the butterfly to be thoroughly entertaining. Let's just put it that way. And, a gag I really like in this episode is the whole secret entrance bit. And, I'm sure you guys have noticed by now, but I've got a tendency to explain a joke when I'm talking about why I find it funny. And, here's the thing about that. I don't care. So I will be sitting here and I will be explaining why I like this joke. So anyway, I love that this borderline fast food restaurant supposedly has a secret entrance. And then it turns out that it's the most obvious looking rock in the middle of the dining floor. It's just absurd and one of those one-off gags that I love because obviously this is never revisited at any point. So yeah, that's why I love it. Second best shortcut / secret entrance gag that I can remember right now. The best is the one where SpongeBob rides the bubble transition in Born to Be Wild. That's the best one. Anyway, so to talk about the actual scene that this gag is a part of, the whole bit at the Krusty Krab is just hilarious. SpongeBob and Patrick's interrupting of Mr. Krabs and Squidward leads to a pretty funny visual gag, followed by some good banter between all four of them. And I also love that even Mr. Krabs and Squidward, who are the ones who are above childishness and foolishness for the most part, kinda, are also scared out of their minds by this little butterfly. And then from there, the episode becomes beautiful chaos for me as SpongeBob and Patrick rile up the whole town. I'm sure some people find this sequence to be repetitive, but I certainly don't. And I think it's filled with some great gags as well, like the traffic light, which spruces things up. And I'm a sucker for chaos that still follows social order, so that gag is brilliant to me. And the world of SpongeBob SquarePants like feels more complete when it involves all of Bikini Bottom like this, so I appreciate the whole town's inclusion in this episode. And I also just love how the whole town ends up being like ravaged because of mass hysteria over this little butterfly. And even though it may be abrupt, I like this episode's ending, animation errors and all. I'll be putting a link to the picture with all the errors in the description, but there's a lot of errors in this last scene and I don't know why. But yeah. Anyway, I love how Sandy like easily takes care of the problem and how she like becomes the town's hero. It kind of feels like an extension of Texas, where she has like an actual relationship with other people from Bikini Bottom. So, you know, dunking on someone's in the kitchen with Sandy real quick. Just saying. Anyway, I do wonder though, like if Sandy ever explained to SpongeBob and Patrick that the butterfly was Wormy. So when I was writing the original review for this episode, the SpongeBob wiki said that apparently she did explain that in the Leap Pad adaptation of this episode. So that's interesting. But like, yeah, Leap Pad. That's a long time ago. Oh my god. I just got like childhood flashbacks of like playing Frogger or whatever that game is called. I don't know. Anyway. So clearly I've got no problems with Wormy. It's fun, constantly engaging, and it's wonderfully chaotic and wholesome all at the same time. And for all of these reasons, it has definitely earned a spot in my amazing tier, coming in with a score of 9.3 out of 10. Patty Hype is a very liminal episode to me. Like, does anyone else get that feeling when watching this one? I don't know. I just think the set pieces in this episode feel so empty. And, you know, there is that one morbid joke. So, I don't know. Maybe it's all just in my head. But this is hardly related to my thoughts on the episode. But I just wanted to bring that up before we get started. Because, you know, I love bringing random things up. So, I guess to start the review off properly, Patty Hype is a really good episode. The beginning is great with the, ironically, richly atmospheric, like, abandoned Krusty Krab. Like, I really love how they did that. How it's, like, so gray and, like, washed out and all the spider webs and dust. And I just really like it. The bit with the customer is a great joke to properly start the episode with because, honestly, Incidental 42 is so real for that. And yes, I do consult the SpongeBob wiki at times. What about it? I don't know what you want me to say. Also, the whole talking dog thing, like both iterations of the joke, is just too funny. And, you know, while we're here, I've got some fun facts for y'all, actually. So, first off, Patty Hype is the episode that names my favorite incidental, aka background character, Tom. And Tom's better known as Chocolate Guy. And what's great about this episode is that it actually sees my two favorite background characters interact, Tom and Fred. So that's super fun to me. But that has nothing to do with anything, so let me move on. The characters are very strong in this episode. Like, SpongeBob, he's very cute here. His pretty patty idea is just so very pure and so very SpongeBob. And I thought it was very wholesome how Patrick joined SpongeBob immediately, being a great and, you know, a true ride-or-die friend. Mr. Krabs is also great here. His initial reaction to the pretty patties is hilarious. And, I mean, really just in general, Mr. Krabs is, like, funny here. And Squidward also backs him up pretty good for the little bit of the episode that he's in. And it's true that, you know, Mr. Krabs and Squidward are most definitely jerkwads here. But, you know, universal justice does end up being served, so that's yay for me. I love that SpongeBob also has a backbone here in this episode. Honestly, this episode's great for people like me who like to see nice people not be pushovers, and for seeing rude people get their just desserts. A good bit of comeuppance will always please me greatly. And, you know, I think that's where the majority of my enjoyment of this episode comes from, because it's kind of like a slow burn on comeuppance. Interesting. And, you know, when I really think about it, okay, walk with me here. Well, maybe don't walk with me. I don't know if I feel like getting into it. But, you know, when I really think about it, this episode has got to be some kind of commentary on corporate greed and capitalism. Okay, I'm going to just let y'all sit with that, because I don't want to get into it. But I'm going to just let y'all sit with it. Okay? I refuse to believe it's not. And either way, the part where all the customers get mad at Mr. Krabs is hilarious, and it has some great visual gags there too, like especially with the guy who like turned all the lights off in the ocean somehow, and then the fact that like they continued the scene with the lights off instead of him turning them back on like immediately. So that was pretty funny. And I really don't have much to say other than that. You know, this episode ends with Mr. Krabs getting his just desserts and SpongeBob having the time of his life with those pickle slices, so it was a very cathartic experience for me. And, I've got no problems with Patty Hype, like, at all. It's pretty funny and wholesome. I guess the only thing I don't like about this episode is that it just kind of forgets about the existence of not just one, but two characters in Squidward and Patrick. Especially Patrick, who, like, literally just disappears for no reason. And I guess this bothers me slightly because I think they could have been used more. Maybe not Squidward as much, but Patrick could have. But, that's not much of an issue at all, so this episode's still in my amazing tier, coming in with a score of 9 out of 10. As always, just wanted to end with some closing thoughts of mine. So, looks like we've returned to back-to-back bangers with these two amazing tier episodes. So, that's always nice to see after a little bit of a dip in the last couple episodes. And, to think about Patty Hype for a second, it's such a fun episode to think about because it harks back to simpler times, like it's the source of that confused Mr. Krabs meme from like forever ago. And, it's crazy to think that it's been so long. Like, what was that, 2017, 2018? Oh my God. That was around the time where memes originating from Twitter were like really popular. So, simpler times. I mean, I think they're popular now, but, it's just different now. It's just like Instagram meme pages. I feel like they don't really exist anymore. I don't know. Simpler times, let's just put it that way. But yeah, other than those two things, I guess, I don't really have too much to say about these episodes. So I guess I'll just close things out here, and I will see you guys in the next review.